have reached August, and while many Giants, Jets, and Eagles fans are looking forward to the NFL season, we also have high school and college games on the horizon. Joining me now is ONNJ Sports' very own Bobby Santoro to give us some insight into the teams and players. Bobby, been a while. Hope summer has been treating you well, my friend.
It's been great, Mike. Thanks for having me back.
Our pleasure. So I want to start with New Jersey's #1 high school team, Bergen Catholic. They're coming off an 11-1 season and their fourth straight non-public A-State title with a 25-7 victory over Don Bosco Prep. Quincy Porter is a big loss. He's at Ohio State now. How is the team shaping up ahead of the coming season?
Well, they just seem to be a team that just keeps reloading each year. I mean, they're poised to run it back again for a fifth straight time. I mean, you just look at the way that Coach Campanella just reloads each year. They keep bringing good players. I know they had a freshman last year, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was Jackson Vaughn. It could have been it, or maybe not Jackson Vaughn. It might have been. No, it was. So yeah, my stats are right. But he was one of the top freshmen in the league, and he's been offered, by a bunch of schools so far: Notre Dame, Texas. All these, you have all these players that just want to come play for them, and they're just going to keep reloading as they move along.
Now, another team that went 11-1 last year is DePaul. They have a great quarterback in Derek Zammit and a reliable head coach in Nick Campanelli, a guy who's 33-15 over his 4 years with the school. Do you think they'll repeat the success they had last year?
I think they could. I mean, they definitely, they definitely can with Zammit there too. I know he's committed to Washington recently. He just committed there too, so he's going to be out there. Obviously he wants to show off his arm more too with going out West Coast, even though they're a Big Ten school now. Washington's still, to me, a West Coast team that loves to throw the ball. And I think, they do have the talent to kind of run it back there too. I mean, it was great last year seeing them kind of get to where they were from the year before. And I think they're just sustained, especially with him. As long as he's behind under center, he's good. And they're going to be great, and they'll be able to run it back too.
Now, let's head down to South Jersey and talk about a team that was undefeated last year. Toms River North went 14-0, but they did that with wide receiver Cameron Thomas, who's now headed to Rider University, not on a football scholarship, but on a track scholarship. How big of a loss is he for the Mariners, and how is the team going to fill that void this year?
Well, for them, it's going to be interesting, too, because they're losing losing him is going to be big, but all their offensive stat leaders from last year were all seniors, so they're all gone. It's going to be, they're kind of an unknown. I mean, again, they've been a school, Toms River North, that, as far as I've known, has always been able to, kind of rebound, but as a public school down there, it's tough. You're not recruiting. So they have had some players taken away by, by private schools as well. I honestly, it's kind of like it's just a shot in the dark to see how they do. But I mean, I have all the faith in the world in that coaching staff there too, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see them up there too. There was Malachi Ford, I believe, whose brother Micah Ford used to play for Toms River North as well. They're all, he's still there. You have a bunch of players who are still coming back who are able to kind of help them get to where they want to be.
It's good to hear. Now, are there any other high school teams we should be on the lookout for this year? And especially, are there any you think will perform better than last year?
Yeah, well, I mean, you look at up here in the northern Jersey area. There's Jefferson, who's a team who can obviously be able to kind of bounce back from last year. You have Morris Catholic with a new head coach coming in again this year, who is a very small. They have a very small football team in the sense of they don't have a lot of players, but they're very well disciplined, and they were young last year. So I mean, this is a team that last year or 2 years ago, I believe won one game or didn't even win a game. So who last year was kind of able to bounce back and have a better season. Now with the new coaching staff, I could see them coming back too. I mean, a school that kind of took a dip last year was Roxbury, who 2 years ago had a bunch of seniors and who almost, who lost in a heartbreaking fashion 2 years ago to Mount Olive. And then last year kind of had a rebuilding season. So we'll see how they kind of bounce back as well too. So it's interesting to see all these public schools are going to kind of see how players develop and how new kids come in and take over, and it's going to be fun. I mean, I can't believe it's almost football. So
I can't either. It's already August. This is unbelievable. Now, let's move on to college football and discuss Rutgers, our alma mater. They went 7-6 last year, I believe. Head coach Greg Schiano recently addressed the media at the start of training camp. What was his message and demeanor as he addressed reporters?
Well, he's always just very confident, and he always says his goal here is to bring a national title to Rutgers, which if you're an outsider looking in, you're looking at it being like, wow, Rutgers hasn't been ranked in the nation's top 25, I believe, since 2014. So, I mean, since that time, we haven't been ranked there, but I mean, you feel confident with him, manning the team. They're saying this roster might be the best roster that he's had since he's come back. What might be a little tough is this is probably the hardest schedule they've had since they've come back too. But he's not, how he always kind of is in. He's always confident. He thinks that Ethan Kaliakmanis, the quarterback, is going to be best he's ever been this year too. And they've reloaded, even though with some key departures, they've still reloaded some good players.
Well, piggybacking off of that, who are some of the key losses or additions that will make an impact for the Scarlet Knights this season?
So, key loss is obviously Kyle Monangai, right? He had to go to the Bears too, which is obviously, me, I'm a Packers fan, so I have to deal with that. But losing him is a huge loss. But they brought in C.J. Campbell from FAU, or Florida Atlantic, I should say, who isn't going to be the big power runner that Monangai was, but he's actually more of a receiving threat out of the backfield. So, he's a good running back, but he can also catch out of the backfield. When it comes to the wide receiver spot, they have another transfer in from North Texas. I want to say DT Sheffield, I believe his name is, and he is going to be another one of the big names you see here. I think what's going to happen is, because of it, I think the wide receiver room is a little bit more loaded than it was last year, and the running back room, while Campbell's good, and we still have a few players returning from last year, you might see them throw the ball a little bit more this year.
Now, I was looking at some of the other colleges from around the state, from D1 to D3, Monmouth, Princeton, Montclair, Kane. Their records weren't the best last year. Do any of them have hope for a turnaround season in 2025?
Well, they all always do. It's tough to tell with them too. Obviously Princeton's always a school that you'd like to see. I've always wanted to even go down there and watch a game. They're always a fun school to watch. You look at Kane and Monmouth, like you said, who are schools who they've had down years, but they've also had good years in the past too. Rowan has been good. Montclair hasn't been bad either. It's always fun to see, because each year you have players from all the schools who have a standout season or a jump out season, who can maybe propel the team to have a good year. So while last year wasn't the best for them, I could see any of them actually kind of just bouncing back here too when it comes to it. Like I said, Rowan's always been good, and even Kane is probably one of the schools that I could see bouncing back too.
Well, Bobby, stay right there, because after the break, we'll talk about the sad state of affairs the Yankees are in right now. We'll be right back. Well, the New York Yankees are not where fans want them to be, and they're not where they should be. Through June 12th, they were 42-25, but since then they've gone 18-27, dropping to third place in the American League East. And the trade deadline, which just passed, didn't seem to make things any better for the time being. Back with us is ONNJ sports writer Bobby Santoro to talk about what's been and what lies ahead. Bobby, what a time to be a Yankees fan, huh?
It seems like it's almost every year now they go through this little bit of a grind through the middle of the season. So we'll see if they bounce back this year.
Well, Bobby, a big part of the slump can be blamed on all the injuries that happened going back to June. Let's start with the pitching staff. Clark Schmidt is done for the year thanks to Tommy John surgery. Ryan Yarbrough, Fernando Cruz, Mark Leiter Jr., on and on. They already had it bad enough with Garrett Cole missing the entire year because of Tommy John surgery. How much of this debacle can be blamed on the pitching?
Look, it can absolutely be blamed on it in some way. You always think, people think all year too, if they had Garrett Cole, with the way Fried and even Rodon's bounced back to have a nice solid year as a 3-starter if Cole was here, but now obviously you want more out of him, it would be a different story here too. The problem is too, though, there was that stretch they didn't hit. It seems like whenever they're pitching well, they don't hit, and whenever they hit well, they're not pitching. So it's definitely taken a toll. They really don't have many starters who can go more than 5 or 6 innings now too. So what I loved is that they worked on the bullpen, because that bullpen's going to be gassed by the end of the year too. So if they can turn it around, I think the pitching is good enough to maybe have a top. All you need in playoffs are 1 or 2 or 3 starters. We saw it with the Dodgers last year. They ran out an opener in the World Series. So it's a matter of trying to get through the season. There's really I thought they could have used a starter at the deadline, but there really wasn't anyone to be had for at least any kind of a price that they would want to pay. So it's what we got. We'll see if they can kind of bounce back with what they have too, and we'll just need to rely on Fried and Rodon for the most part, and maybe Heel too.
Still plenty of time. Now, we also have to talk about Aaron Judge, the team captain and AL MVP candidate. He's supposed to return sooner than later after being sidelined with an elbow injury. How demoralizing, though, can it be for the team to be without their captain?
It's very demoralizing, and you say in baseball too. Even if he's there in the dugout, it's not the same as if he's playing. It's a different, he's not out there with everyone. He's not doing it. I know he's itching to get back out there too. So it's when you lose him, it's comparable to like years when CC Sabathia would get hurt too. I mean, he used to be a leader in the clubhouse too, and when he's not pitching there, when he's not in there, it used to be people would say it's just different. So with Judge, it's easily the same way. He wants to get back out there too. And they've obviously, it seems that they've been able to sort of piece together some games where they've been able to get some runs too. So you've seen Bellinger take a step forward. Maybe he becomes kind of a leader in that way. Goldschmidt's obviously a veteran, but you need your captain out there too, which obviously could affect stuff with when it comes to the new players coming in from other teams too. He's the one who welcomes everyone there. He's the one who kind of is supposed to be out there with everyone, leading the way, making everyone feel comfortable. So that's definitely had an effect, and it's definitely hurting the clubhouse, I think, a lot.
Now, this might be a hot take, but Aaron Judge and Giancarlo Stanton together remind me a little bit of the Bash brothers back in the 80s and 90s, Mark McGwire, Jose Canseco. Now, since returning from his injury, Stanton really has been the extra bat the Yankees needed. He had a really, really good July. Now, even if the pitching might still not be there, can the two of them together help turn things around with the bat down the stretch?
Oh, absolutely. They 100% can. You have both of them in the lineup, and as long as Bellinger stays the way he is too, I think he could be a helpful piece as well. We've said it all year long too, even before the season when Stanton first got hurt. Just as long as he's healthy for October, because he always delivers in October. Now let's see if they get there at this point, but he's always there to deliver there, and if Judge can get out of his woes when it comes to his October struggles and everything like that, they're more than capable of getting there. It's a matter of I think it's more so them just kind of cleaning up the bad habits and some of the bad baseball that we've been seeing by the team lately.
Now let's get to the fun stuff. Reigning AL Rookie of the Year, Luis Heel, made his season debut on Sunday against the Marlins, a game he wants to forget. He didn't even make it out of the fourth inning. But there was also the issue of fundamentals that whole series. Jazz Chisholm, who's got great talent, ended up getting thrown out at first because he didn't tag up to a pop-up to second base. It was like watching a Little League game. What was your take on this whole thing?
Well, especially as a coach too, it drives me nuts. Seeing stuff like that. It's the mental errors that you just can't take. I love Jazz too. Jazz is one of those players who he can lead the way when things are going well. Obviously, he has some of those hiccups, and to be honest, if I'm coaching, I'm not playing him yesterday, even though he hit a home run yesterday, which is great. That's what you see with him too. You have Jekyll and Hyde with him, but you make a mental error like that. Yeah, I understand that he understands what he did and everything like that, but there's got to be accountability. And this team for some reason is lacking that right now. We've seen so much bad baseball from them when it comes to base running, or we saw with Austin Wells a couple weeks ago on that, not remembering how many outs there were. So it all comes down to just you got to tighten it. You have to tighten everything up, and it's more than just that. It's the leadership of the team too. I'm not saying it's just the manager, but it's everyone. You got to change the mentality. So it's definitely it drives you nuts as a coach who sees it, who tries to harp on that with the players that I coach. And it's something that I hope they can. If they don't touch this up, there's no way they're getting it back to the World Series, or let alone winning it.
Now, do you think there are any? It didn't really show this past weekend, but do you think there are any moves the Yankees made at the trade deadline that you think will help them down the stretch?
I like the deadline that they had. It's funny because normally I'm one of the people like shouting like they should have done more, and I thought they did. I thought they did a lot. Everything that they could have done, especially with what the Padres gave up for Mason Miller too. I wouldn't want the Yankees giving up that much. I know I don't want a prospect hug, but at the same time, there are certain for a reliever. I know Mason Miller's under contract for a long time, but you get someone like David Bednar, who again, like you said, Bird and Duvall did not pitch well the other night. Duvall was gave up the walk-off, and that was something that Caballero, another deadline acquisition, kind of made that error and blew that. But you have those three relievers who can help your bullpen, and we've talked about it. they're human beings. They're coming from another team. They're coming from, I mean, Bednar from Pittsburgh, Bird from Colorado. I mean, these are small market teams. You're being thrown right into a pennant race. Not saying that like you want them to be mentally tough and be able to handle that, which I think they are going to be, but especially the first game that they're all just tossed into this game where not only that, but the Yankees were up 6-0 in that game that they blew, and it's like the towel's tightening every single, so you could tell the nerves were going with them. And I think that they're actually going to be okay. I love the Ryan McMahon move now. I mean, I don't know about how it's going to be because people forget McMahon's under contract for 2 more years after this year. So I don't know how that's going to – I don't know if I'm sold on him being the Yankees' third baseman for 2 more years after this, but I love the move now because he seems to provide a spark right now. And, when it comes to Caballero and, and the other moves they made too, I mean, they're all depth moves. So, I mean, Rosario, too, is a depth move. It's all just to see Austin or Slater as well. I'm sorry. Yeah. They're all moves that can help out the team in depth. They're not like the big swing moves, the big impact bats, but they're people who maybe have big impact in the postseason, and we'll see what they can do. It was an interesting tactic how they approached this offseason or deadline season, I should say.
And the postseason is where it counts. Now, finally, Bobby, Spencer Jones continues to make his mark down in the minors. The Yankees decided to hold on to him. Do you think there's a chance we see him get called up before the season ends?
I did until they made the trade for Slater, because it's not that I think that Slater's holding him down, but they have so many outfielders to begin with right now. And while Spencer Jones is having an incredible season, I mean, between AA and AAA this year, I think he's got 29 home runs, and you love to see that from him. Now, I'm not saying maybe he gets called up in September, but you want him, if he's having this good of a season, you want him to keep playing every day. Like, I feel like if they were going to call him up, you're going to have to call him up so he plays. You don't want him to sit, especially when he's having a hot year. You don't want him to come up and just sit. So I mean, I love him. I've covered him a few years ago in the minor leagues too. Not only is he's a big bat, he can steal bases. He loves stealing bases. He says he prides himself on that more than hitting home runs. So I think he's going to be a great player for this Yankee team. Him and Lombard, I think, are the two that you just can't touch. But I don't know about this year. If injuries happen, sure. But I just feel like this year they're kind of set on what they want to do. And if he's not going to play every day, why sit him down and cool him off if he's been hot so far?
That's right. Well, Bobby Santoro, thanks so much for taking the time today. And I know with high school and college football right around the corner, we'll be talking soon. Thanks again.
Thanks for having me.
Coming up, a Rowan University track star had a year-end career to remember, taking home 2 All-American honors. We'll catch up with Molly Lodge after the break. Molly Lodge of Rowan University had a year-end career to remember. The women's track and field superstar earned All-American honors at the NCAA Outdoor Track Championships in the 400-meter hurdles. She was also named Academic All-American, one of 5 Rowan University athletes to receive the honor this past season. Molly joins me now to take a look back on her success. Molly, thanks so much for taking the time, and congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you guys for having me.
It's our pleasure. So, Molly, let's go back to the beginning. I knew you grew up in Woodstown. How did you first develop a passion for running, and how did it lead you on a journey towards your success at Rowan University?
Yeah, of course. So running for me definitely started as a way to stay in shape between winter swimming and summer swimming. Like, it was kind of just the perfect thing to slot in there. I've kind of always had a love for what I call like stopwatch sports because they're objective and they take a lot of mental discipline, which I've always found myself a pretty gritty person. So Woodstown was fantastic because they let you kind of dip your feet into a lot of different things. I tried jumping, I tried sprint events, like I tried so many different things. And Woodstown was a great launch pad because I really fell in love with track there. And that's like my senior season there, I had a great year, and that's what really made me want to continue at Rowan. I was already committed to Rowan to go to school there, so it was like the natural progression to start running track there, and I just loved it after my time at Woodstown, and I really wanted to continue, so it's kind of how it all started.
That's fantastic. Now, any athletes or role models that you looked up to when you were a kid?
Oh my gosh, so many. I was always like I loved the Olympics. And like I said before, my whole life was kind of swimming before running. So, ladies like Katie Ledecky and Missy Franklin and Lily King, they were all incredible swimmers, and I really looked up to them. And I also spent a lot of time in dance. So Misty Copeland, the ballerina, was a super big inspiration to me. But on the track side, once I kind of grew into track and field, I mean, Sydney McLaughlin is incredible, and Dalila Muhammad and Athing Mo. Those are like kind of my three that I love to watch nowadays.
Now, speaking of influences, talk about the coaching staff at Rowan University and how much of an influence they've been on you over the last few years.
Yeah, so in my time at Rowan, I had quite a few coaches. My first 2 years, it started out with Coach Derek Ringo Adamson and Coach Keith Sharper. They were both awesome in that they really instilled like what it meant to be a college runner, and they were super enthusiastic and supportive, and it gave you like kind of the college experience. My junior year, we transitioned over to having Coach Liz Madden, and she brought a lot of structure to the team, and I really appreciated her for that in that she was incredibly supportive and everything was very organized, and I learned a lot from her. That year, our sprint coaches were Coach Jacina Searles, who really, she nurtured me a lot and taught me how to hurdle. I didn't hurdle before college, and so she really took the time with me to, gauge the distance to the hurdle and learn how to alternate. So I owe her a lot for that. And then this past recent year, Coach Shedrick came on board as our full-time head coach, and he has been absolutely fantastic. He's really nurtured a sense of like among the team, like really being together and being committed to our craft. And at this point, he is my coach, and I consider him a lifelong mentor, but I also consider him my peer. We cycle together now, which is really awesome. And yeah, I feel like I've made a lifelong friend, and he's really influential to me as, big support of, where I was in that stage of my track career.
So great to hear. Now, who were some of the other standouts, other than you, obviously, on your team this past year?
Oh my gosh, our team just had a loaded year all across the board, not just myself. I'd love to, call out my other seniors who were super fantastic. My training partner, Nevaeh Lurgist, we came in as freshmen together and really finished it out strong together. She's a stud. Other seniors include Izzy Deal on the throw side and then Anna Sassy on the distance side. Young upstarts include also distance Ellie Pagano. She was my roommate. She's fantastic. She's going to have an incredible year as she approaches her senior year. And then Lexi Bay on the throw side, she had an incredible conference championship twice. And then our upstart Nyla Jones, she was our highest finisher at nationals this year. She got 5th place in the 400-meter hurdles. So, I'm really looking forward to seeing them and what they can do this year and in the future.
Now, I can't wait to hear this part. Take me through the 400-meter hurdles event and talk about the moment you found out you were named All-American.
Yeah. So to make nationals is an honor at all. Like just to be in that top 22 gals that get to go run is an honor. The 400-meter hurdles is hard. First and foremost, it's hard. It's a hard event. You have to be really mentally tough. I like to say that the 400-meter hurdles chooses you. You got to be either a good hurdler that kind of gets thrown into it as a second event, or you're a long sprinter that is coordinated enough and they figure out that you're coordinated enough and then you end up 400 hurdling. But yeah, the first 5 hurdles, they kind of go by in a flash. And then the 6th and 7th hurdle, you got to really stay tough. That's kind of where it starts to hurt. 8 and 9 is where people start to give up. You really have to stick with it then. And then, yeah, 10 is who wants it the most because you're really just trying to focus on not crashing over the 10th hurdle. And then after that, it's a 40-meter dash to the end. That's the fun part.
I can only imagine. Now, you were also named Academic All-American, so you were obviously a star on the track as well as in the classroom. Did you approach running with the same discipline and mentality as school?
Absolutely. I've always really loved to learn, so it was natural to kind of dedicate the same amount of time and effort that came with running to school. I did computer science as both my undergrad and my master's, so I really enjoyed kind of the discipline that it required to be, as good at school as it was to be as good at running. But yeah, I put a lot of care and commitment into my running, and for me, when I commit to something, I full send on it, so I don't really do anything halfway. So the same commitment that went to running, equal if not more, went into school. I really care about school.
Do you think running has helped prepare you for the real world in any way?
Oh my gosh, absolutely. you have to balance a lot when you're a college athlete. You're balancing going to class and doing your homework, but then also attending your practice. And you probably have a 6 a.m. lift, and you got to fit your classes in between lift and class. And then you have to worry about eating and sleeping and showering and making sure that your mind is right and that you're getting enough like leisure time to just be yourself and hang out with your friends. So I think that maybe normal college people who have a job or something like that experience a similar time management challenge, but I don't know if anything compares to the challenge of being a student athlete and getting all those things in to really have a fulfilling time at school. I think like nowadays I get up at 5:15 in the morning for work. So I was used to that. Like I had a lift in the morning 2 days a week. And so I kind of knew how to handle that. And I'm really thankful to track for, giving me that launch pad.
Well, speaking of, what are you doing now that you are out in the real world?
Yeah, so right now I am very lucky. I have a full-time job. I work for Lifecycle Engineering in Philadelphia. I'm a software engineer. Um, in that my day-to-day, I work under the Department of the Navy at NAVSEA Philadelphia Division, supporting machinery control systems for the Coast Guard. So it's really fulfilling.
That's really cool stuff. Now, final question, any advice to other young athletes looking to thrive at whatever sport they play?
Oh my gosh, so many things. I would say don't be scared to give it your all. A lot of people struggle with anxiety, I think, especially like nowadays. You know, I I really think that you have to trust the process, trust your training, trust your coaches, trust your teammates. Most of all, trust yourself. I think as soon as you get over the hurdle of, oh, people are going to think this, or what if it doesn't go my way? Like you really just have to believe in yourself. And my teammates and I like to say, especially before the by 400-meter relay, we like to say, let it rip. Because there's nothing else you can do. You got to let go of whatever anxiety you got going on. You have to let go of whatever preconceived notions of the other people in the race. Like you can only do as much as you can do, and you got to let it rip. I think my parents instilled that in me in a young age, and I'm super thankful for like my mom and dad for kind of giving me that attitude of things. You can only do what you have trained yourself to do. So as long as you've been committed to your training and you've been committed to your process and your goals, go out there and let it rip.
Such great advice. Molly Lodge, All-American track star with Rowan University. Congratulations, best of luck, and thanks so much for coming on today.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Well, that's it for this week's show. I'll see you next Monday, and for all New Jersey sports and news, head over to ONNJ.com.